Hey dropout, translate this in an hour. I glanced at the documents handed to me with a mocking laughter. It appeared to be a contract written in French. It might be too hard for you without a college degree, but get it done in less than an hour. Behind those mocking words, I could sense the intent of ridicule, thinking I'd probably fail, and wondering how they could make fun of me if I did. The surrounding co-workers watched the exchange with a mix of sympathy and disbelief. Reading such a document would take less than 3 seconds. As I quickly scanned the content, I was taken aback, because it detailed an unbelievable deal. I've skimmed through it, and this contract is just absurd. What? No way you read that so quickly. Facing his raised angry voice, I calmly pointed out the errors in the documents. My name is Sam. I'm a regular office worker at a certain company. Well, starting today, I'll be working at the New York headquarters. Growing up in a poor family, I started working on the ground at this company right after middle school. Back then, it was just a part-time gig, but eventually, I was hired full-time. My co-workers were kind, and despite my limited formal education, they taught me a lot. From the job itself to math and even languages, I learned a lot on the job. I always believed that what I learned would one day benefit the company and contribute to its growth. With that mindset, the company helped shape me into a respectable professional, recognizing my skills and eventually trusting me with an assignment to an overseas branch. Although my first venture abroad presented numerous challenges, it was rewarding, and I was able to build good relationships with the locals. To be honest, I have been offered higher positions multiple times but always declined because I prioritized hands-on work at the branch. It was a decision many people regretted, but they respected my choice and let me proceed how I saw fit. Thanks to that, our overseas branch got on the right track, generating stable revenue. And so, I've proudly returned to the New York headquarters. Though my departure was bittersweet for many at the branch, I know they've grown enough to run it on their own. Many came to the airport to bid me farewell, bearing loads of gifts and bouquets. I waved back at them. I am heading back to the States and going to serve as a regular worker at the New York headquarters for a while to get accustomed to working there. I've missed my home country and regard my co-workers like family, so I was eagerly anticipating my return. I gazed out of the airplane window, lost in thought. After a long time away, I was excited about returning to the States and to the impressive new building of headquarters. Starting today, this is my workplace. As I looked around the spacious office, Harry gave a brief introduction about me. The co-workers, many of whom I didn't recognize, greeted me with applause. The only familiar face seems to be Harry. For now, I'll be assigned to the sales department where Harry works, to get a grasp of the atmosphere and work routine of the New York headquarters. There's talk about me taking up a significant position later on, but revealing that now might intimidate some co-workers. So, for now, they introduced me as just another co-worker returning from the branch. Starting from today, I look forward to working here. With that greeting, I bowed my head, and the co-workers greeted me with warm applause. I thought this was a great workplace. I never imagined that among the young, motivated co-workers, there would be someone with malicious intent. On the first day, I focused on understanding the workflow, getting to know clients, and familiarizing myself with ongoing contracts. That's when I was introduced to a young man named James, a graduate from a prestigious university, and showing promise as a rookie just a year after joining the company. Nodding in agreement with Harry's words that we both have something to learn from each other, I introduced myself. I'm Sam. Nice to meet you. As I extended my hand for a handshake, after a quick glance, James introduced himself in a somewhat irritated tone. I'm James. Regardless, I was now set to work with James. Thinking back, there was a sense of discomfort from the beginning. Sam, right. Keep it in your mind that I'm the senior here, after all. Oh, understood. The moment the department had left, his tone and attitude turned curt. However, I figured for a young and talented guy like him, mentoring a middle-aged man sent over from a branch office must seem like a tedious task, so I decided not to let it bother me. Perhaps I shouldn't have been so accepting of his demeanor. For about the first week, I was able to learn the nature of the job by observing James at work. Since he didn't give me any explicit directions, I assumed it was a learn-by-watching kind of situation. But it seems I was mistaken. You're just sitting next to me, collecting a paycheck. Aren't you a little old to be doing that? That day, out of the blue, he dropped that comment, and I was taken aback. I have been diligently taking notes while watching James work, ensuring I understood the workflow. I made it a point to remember all our clients and contract details and was already strategizing about future dealings, but to him, it seemed like I was slacking off. Before I could even explain the misunderstanding, James turned to chat with a passing female co-worker. "Where's that coffee going?" "It's for Harriet's office. He has a visitor." From the female co-worker who responded, James quickly took the tray from her. Without even glancing at her puzzled expression, he turned to me and said, "You're just hanging around today too, aren't you? Do this simple task." I carefully took the tray, making sure not to spill the coffee. But it's okay. Let's get the guy who's been doing nothing all week to do some work." "All right, please take it to the reception room then." The female co-worker, looking troubled, gave a slight bow and James said, "No need for that. Now, get moving," pushing me along with those words. Though I was confused, it was still a task I had been assigned. If I didn't hurry, I'd end up making the guests wait. Understood. Saying that, I carried the coffee to the reception room. From then on, his arrogant attitude only got worse. He blatantly looked down on me, hurling insults my way. I wondered what I had done to upset him. I couldn't recall doing anything to deserve such disdain, leaving me puzzled. Nevertheless, I'm currently in a position to learn under him at work. I had no choice but to endure it. "Hey, old man, copy this for me. We need it for the meeting, so make sure you get enough copies for all the members." A stack of papers was thrown carelessly at me. As I bent down to pick up the papers I had dropped, I could hear James's mocking voice. Typical old man, so useless. With just those words, he returned to his desk without another glance in my direction. A sympathetic co-worker tried to help me, but after getting a sharp look from James, he just said, "Sorry," with a regretful look on his face. "Don't worry about it, it's my job," I replied to the kind co-worker while gathering the documents. Afterwards, I made copies for everyone, secured them with paper clips, and made my way to the conference room. "You're late." The moment I entered, I was met with a shout. I thought there was still time before the meeting began. Confused, I distributed the documents to the co-workers. The meeting time was moved up. A female co-worker whispered to me. It seemed I hadn't been informed of the change in schedule. Feeling like a small act of malice had pierced my heart, I took my seat. "Why are you sitting? You're not part of this meeting, old man." James's sharp voice echoed throughout the conference room. "I'd like to understand about the new product," I responded, feeling the situation was completely unfair. At that, James visibly scowled. "We're telling you to leave because even if you listen, it won't be of any use." His disgruntled voice drew the attention of everyone in the room. Some looked annoyed, some pitied me, their glances hurt, and I decided that staying would only be a nuisance. "I understand. Excuse me." I quietly said that and left the conference room. Behind the door I had softly closed, I bit my lip with sadness and frustration. I had returned to the